I got a brand new Transaxle from Hydro Gear. $1,200 later. That's with shipping and everything. Cheaper than buying it at the dealer. Their warranty, they have no warranty if you do it yourself. If you do it by the dealer, they give you 6 months. So there's a service bulletin here when they ship them. The friction pack locked. Friction pack locked in neutral position. So it has all the different transaxles here and where that friction nut is. I'm on the ZT3400 down here, so this nut right here needs backed off 1 to 2 turns. And I'll show you that. Once the unit has been installed, back that off 1 to 2 turns, and that will take it out of neutral. Allow the control arm to move in the forward or reverse direction. There, just so you guys are aware, that ZSKH EF-9T7C-11RX will replace 8T7C. That's what we took off, and that's what I ordered. But I ordered the 8T7C, but a 9 came, so that's the upgraded one, I guess. Whatever, the couple little mods on it, like this plug, I don't know what it is here. We're not going to use. Just looking here, some differences. This is going to need swapped over for the parking brake. Just have to put that on here. Just make sure it's lined up the same way. And then this little dog bone here is going to have to be swapped over to this one. Easy, just a couple nuts and stuff. Have to swap it over. Alright, so we'll have to swap this dog bone over to here. That'll be simple. I'll have to swap the reservoir over. And then, I don't know, I might try to put this plug. This is the vent plug and overflow on here. I don't know, this one doesn't have this. There's a couple little differences. I'm not sure what that's for. Here's your neutral drive, gauge, disengage. This is that friction lock. We'll have to loosen this up. All it is it tightens down on here. It's like a washer behind it. So you just loosen this up 1 to 2 turns, and then it allows this to move. That's pretty simple. That's that service Bolton friction lock. I don't know why they have these holes drilled in here. If this is, I mean, obviously it's not to reduce weight for vibration, but it's either indicating something, how many times it's been overhauled, or a modification. I just noticed now on the back they have these raised dimples. 2 of these are drilled down, and then on this one it has them and one's drilled in. So I think that's letting the manufacturer know some sort of service Bolton. The other difference I see is there's a plug in here, and I'm hoping it doesn't need swapped over. There's like a rubber plug in here, and it doesn't seem, I'm hoping that's not a cap and I need to pull it out and put that in. But it seems like this is a larger diameter, so I'm just hoping that plug doesn't need to go in here. And then on the back, this bolt or plug will come out, and that's where we'll attach the reservoir. And I'm going to do all that on here before we put it back in the unit. And that's really, it's already got a new filter on there, so I'll save my old one. Those are the major differences. Not too much we got to swap over, and that's what I'm going to work on now. So the first thing I did was pull this plug to see if I was going to swap it over, if I needed to. And it has an O-ring on it, so it's good to stay. I'm going to leave that hex key in there. This one actually I like better than using the hex key. And I checked to see if it was serviced. If we can see in here. And it is serviced up pretty high. I would say it's serviced almost up to about here. So it's pretty well on the lube, and then once we put the reservoir and everything on, it'll probably top off. On the other one, I filled it up to the overflow. So I'll have to look at their service manual online, which they have really. Hydro Gear has really good manuals online. All the parts breakdowns. If you decide you want to tear one of these apart, they have all their parts breakdowns and all that. I didn't want to mess with all that, rebuilding it and put it back together, just to find out that it still doesn't work, so we just went with buying a new one. So we need to get the motor back in operation. For this parking brake lever, it's just held on by a clip. I'm gonna take a flathead screwdriver right in here on the clip and pry up. There it goes. You can see how it's designed. I just popped that straight up. There's probably a better tool for it. And then it's geared, so we want it pointing straight back at the filter. Slide it off like so, and we're going to install on the new one. Hopefully that is correct. I'm going to see if we swap it out any higher. It's keyed. There's a key in there, so you can only put it on in the correct direction. Well, I mean, it would have to be 180 out, or a quarter out, not a 180, but so that's where it has to go. It does seem stiff, which is odd. I don't know if that has to do with the friction lock. I mean, that's where it needs to go. Maybe that's all the farther it moves. I can't remember. It doesn't move much. So I'm going to put the clip on. Clip just pushes on. It's kind of a chore. Don't let it fling everywhere. Okay. And you got your parking brake. 5/8 on the nut and the bolt head. I had the ratchet on there. It was really tough, so I got out the Milwaukee Impact and it broke free with very little effort. So definitely working smarter, not harder with that. Definitely a good investment. So take out your top bolt, nut on the back, 5/8 both sides. And then the bottom one's smaller. On this lower one, it's a 9/16 bolt head and nut. I'm going to use the Impact. I'm telling you, it's so much easier than trying to wrench on it. Get you one. Alright, and there's the dog bone. We're going to go ahead and just move it just as it is. Right here. And just get it started. You could put anti-seize on the threads if you want. There's some white, some sort of Loctite on this upper one. And that's the swap over. I'm going to tighten those down if you really need to see that. Like 9/16, I'm going to use the socket, not an impact. And then what's the top? 11/16, I believe. Yeah, 11/16 on the top. I think I said the wrong size. The top is 5/8. 5/8 to tighten up the top. I'm going the wrong way. 5/8 to tighten up the upper one here. Okay. They have all the torque specs, Hydro Gear, their website, all the parts, illustrated parts breakdowns, maintenance manuals, torque specs, pretty good. 1/4 inch hex key is what will, that's that friction lock. Basically, it's just a washer holding this in place so it can't rock back and forth. You'll just have to crank that 1 to 2 turns to back it off, and then this will move up and down. We'll do that once it's in place. Next, I'm going to move the reservoir over. This is 11/16 plug, and 11/16 wrench will take the hose and reservoir union off of the other one. So 11/16, take this plug out. It has an O-ring on it. Hopefully no fluid comes out, because I did top that off a little bit. Okay, so we're good there. And on this side, it's 11/16 to take this off. I already broke it loose. It didn't take much. We're going to run this back. I'm going to get this backed off all the way, and then we're going to take this out and swap it over to this one. So on this, you just back this. It's basically a nut, and then you can turn the whole thing out. It's going to be a little bit of a chore here, but you can just twist the whole thing off. It's got no ring on it. Oh, losing a little oil there. Alright, and then there's nothing on the threads. Inspect your O-ring. You can buy O-ring kits. I'm going to thread this in. This one. Don't cross thread it. See if we can get this to go. There we go. It wasn't liking those threads on when I was perfect. And then we need to get that pointed up. Actually, I'm a little wrong here. So I ran that all the way down. I didn't need to do that. That was my fault. That was stupid of me. Back this off a little bit. Hold it up right and tighten your nut down. That was dumb of me to do that. Run it all the way down. So like this. You just get it set where you want, and then you run the jam nut down. Nice and snug. There we go. Now our reservoir is installed. Note, I was unsure of this plug because it almost looks like a cap, and that one has a hex plug in it. They're also different diameters. That's not going to go in here, but this is already serviced. It came serviced with oil, so if they wouldn't put a cap in there, if there would be a plug like this bolt. That's supposed to be there. You don't have to worry about that. I don't think they use it anymore, but that plug's good. It's already serviced. It came serviced. Alright, that's everything you got to swap over. Just that dog bone, the lever on the parking brake, and the reservoir. Fairly quick. It's already serviced. It already has a new filter on it. We're ready to install. So 2 bolts. I'm going to put it back under the machine and hook everything up. So I put this transaxle on my jack just to make life easier. Putting it into place and holding it. It's not super heavy. I think it weighs around 35 pounds. But this will help you hold it where you need to be to get your bolts in, especially when you don't have help like me. Just watch jacking it up. There are things that can hit. When we jacked engines at work, you just wiggle them a little bit, and you'll be able to feel if it's binding. Tilt the back up a little bit, get it up over this cross member back here. Then you got to get, there's a plate up under there, you got to get the fan for the belt drive up over. Get the belt on before you start securing your stuff in place. So that's what I'm going to work on now. Get that fan up and over, because that's what I couldn't get over. So I'm put it on its back end by the filter. Get the fan up over, get this belt around the fan, onto the pulley. That'll help hold it. So you can see what I'm talking about maybe in here. Get that fan up over that. There's a plate up there that it mounts to. You can see where that washer is. That's where the front mount bolt goes. But when you have it like this, take your belt and put it around your pulley on the fan. And then you're out to guide your reservoir up to where it needs to go to. Alright. I'm going to reach down in here and grab our reservoir. Bring it up to where it needs to be, kinda. The belt is where it needs to be. That's a plus. We're going to bring her up. Okay, I got a little binding back here. Okay, now it's starting to fall into place where it needs to be. Now we got it. Don't mind my wife. She's just rocking out. Alright, we're where we need to be now, boys. That's a plus, finally. Alright, so I'm going to just finagle this around. Everything's about where it needs to be. This is where we bolt the axle on. The aft mount's you can see right there. The aft mount is going to bolt right there, so we're close. Alright, so it's in place. A couple things to take note of whenever you are sliding it over here. This bolt right here and that cutout, if you don't lift it up over that, that won't allow you to get it in place to put the bolt on. Also, there's that linkage right here that hangs down. It's behind there now. That'll hit on the front side. You got to move it up and over, so it's behind. I'm going to put the 2 axle bolts in now right here. I got my rear mount bolt right there started. We got to tighten them up. The front mount bolt right there is started. We'll have to tighten that up, put the reservoir back on. It's in place. That's the main things. So you got the big thing is getting that pulley up over. I had trouble getting the whole pulley over that front bar, but it's over now. It's all in place. We're going to tighten everything down, hook up the linkages, and we'll be ready to get going here. It's going to be a little annoying with the sound of the fan, but I need the airflow. It's hot as shit today. So bolts down through the axle here. Nuts on, washers on top, nuts on the bottom, like so, like butter. And I'll let you know what size these are when we tighten them up. And that holds your axle in place. So now we just have to tighten up the 2 forward and aft, not 2 total. 1 forward, 1 aft mount bolt, and the 2 axle bolts. We're going to tighten those up. Alright, tightening up the aft mount, 9/16 on both sides. Haven't really found the best way to get in here, but she's holding the bolt head side and I'm tightening the nut on top. Okay. Alright, we're tightening up the front bolt now. Not sure the best way to get in here. I don't think this is going to get on either. I'm going to go open end. Alright, go ahead and tighten it down, Benna. Crank it on your end. If you want to come hold the wrench, I can get down below and tighten it up.
Is it going? I have like very little space to move it.
Go ahead. Alright, we're going to snug this up. Alright, going to tighten up these axle mounts. Half inch. Using the all 16ths on top. 2 bolts here. Alright, these are both snug. So axle's tight now, both mounts tight. We just have to hook up a couple linkages. Putting the reservoir back on, maybe. I don't remember what size these were just yet. Okay, reservoir secure. This is the engage disengage for neutral, to put it in drive if you need to tow it or whatever. It goes up over the axle here and connects to this with a pin. So we go up over, as you can see right here, I'm trying to get some light, and it just goes right in there, like a glove. And then we have a pin. You'll see a quick pin that we put in there. Needle nose would be handy here. I'm just gonna try pushing it in. There it is, like so. And that's it. So back here, you lift up in the hole and push it forward all the way. Hopefully that's it, yeah. Disengage is back, the neutral, and then to engage it is forward. And then you drop, so forward and drop it down. So right now that's forward, and it can pull back to disengage to neutral. So this nut is on the inside like that. If you wanted to disengage, you would lift up, pull it through the hole. That moves this back and disengages it to neutral. And then you can drop that nut on the outside and lock it, and now it's locked out neutral. To engage it, you push that nut up through and drop it down. Now it's locked and engaged. You can see it on the other side there too. That's hooked up. Now we just have to hook up this linkage and a parking brake. All right, so the shorter of the bolts with the smaller bushing, black bracket for the parking brake arm goes on front of this. It should be in the down position. Put bushing through here, actually washer on the head side, through the bushing. Bushing goes inside that, through the arm, and then put your hat or your flange nut on the back. Yeah, 7/16. Tighten this up nice and tight. Alright, that's nice and tight. It's got a lock nut. And then the front one, no washer, larger bushing. So when you put this one together, the bolt goes through, then the bushing. The bushing just is a spacer, basically. It's a spacer. The bolt goes through the black bracket, through the bushing, then through your linkage, eyelet, out the back, and just a hat or a flange nut on the back. It's also, I believe, 1/2 inch. We will see. Yeah. And tighten that linkage up. Nice and tight. Alright, and that's everything. We should be ready to go on this. Except for, well, I'm in a bit of a pinch there. How's that work? I'll have to look at the other side. So this right here, we're gonna have an issue. It's not gonna be a fun one. That's not good. This is that friction nut that they said loosen up a turn or two. I can't get on it right now because this is in the way and it keeps it in. So you can't back that off, I don't think. Oh, it will come up. I guess you have to back this up before you put it in because now it's blocked. I'm gonna try to put I don't know. I'm gonna try to put something on there, because that's gonna be a chore. We can't get to this now with this bar in place, so I should have backed that out before we put this in. I mean, worst case scenario, I can loosen up the front mount bolt, and that will drop it down enough to get on there. That's probably what I'm gonna do. But make sure you pay attention to that. Loosen it up a turn so this moves. It's locked right now before you install it, because now it's shielded. I was following instructions. It says right here, for that friction pack nut will need to be backed off 1 to 2 turns once the unit has been installed. So if you wait till it's installed, like it's installed, now you can't access it. It's right here. It's behind this frame. So we're gonna have to drop it down so we can get the Allen in there and back that off 1 to 2 turns. There's enough room for it to come out of here, but these instructions are wrong. You need to back it off before you put it up in place, because this won't move now. That's your drive, forward and back. It's in neutral, locked. I loosened all the mount bolts back up, dropped it down, 1/4 inch hex, opened that up. We're moving here now. So that's what that was about. That's good. I just got to top off. I already know that the Transaxle's full of oil. I checked it when I installed it. Now I'm just going to top off the reservoir to the cold fill line. Use 20W50. I'm using Vanguard synthetic engine oil, made for these mowers. 20W50. I think this is 15W50 because they were out. Just put a little bit in the reservoir. Keep an eye on it when you first start using it. And that's it. I'm going to change the oil on the other side while I got it all apart. She broke a bolt off, so I just have to easy out the shank, and we're going to use a bolt off of the existing Transaxle that we just changed. But that's all together now, and it should work. Everything is not back together. The last thing is that belt tensioner, which is hooked right here. And you gotta make sure all your belts are routed, and this has to pull and hook on here for your tensioner. So I'm going to check my belts real quick and then pull that on there. I'll tell you, I don't have a good method to get this hooked, but it's right there. But there's a lot of tension on it, and I do not know how to get that hooked. So, and if you let go, it's going to be violent. So maybe some big vice grips to manhandle it. You need something. When you get it back here, I got this other. I could probably push it in with this. You don't want it to slip off, that's for sure. Because it has some tension on it. And I cannot get it. It's a chore. Like that. I got it. It wasn't easy. What I did was take the pry bar, put it behind the pulley, and push the pulley. I put a screwdriver through here and pulled it with both sides. Angle uphill so this thing doesn't slide into your hand. And I got it hooked, but it was sorry, I forgot to hit record. It was a pain. I'm not doing it again. Everything's hooked up now. Let's see how it goes. Whoa! Whoa! That was not good. Not good at all. About lost the mower right there. Alright. Don't exit that side. Last step is to put the tire back on. The acorn side in. is how that goes. And I'm going to run them on with my impact. I'm going to change the oil on the other side. I have that brand new oil in that old Transaxle. I'm going to drain out, check it, make sure there's nothing in it. It only ran for like a minute or two. And that's a lot of money in oil. I'm going to put it in the other side and put that filter on that side as well. No sense in wasting that money. Run these on. I'm going to use my impact, tighten these up, down jacket, and then I'll show you driving it around that it is a good fix, but I'm pretty happy with it. It seems like it's going to be fine, which I figured it would be. 18/16 on the lug nuts. Good on that side. I'll check them with the ratchet when it's on the ground. And that's it. I'll show you it in action here. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. All it took was about $1,300.